The NBA playoffs are a little over a month away. Here's 21 things you need to know. Let's start with Denver. Denver's catching fire at the perfect time. 9 straight wins, and they're looking unstoppable. Jokic is putting up absurd numbers. Nearly 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists per game. His three-point shot has never been better, knocking down 45% from deep. That's a game changer for this offense. Jamal Murray's heating up too. His scoring has taken a serious jump, and it's giving this team another dangerous weapon. The offense is clicking, spacing the floor, and making defenses scramble. But it's not just the scoring. They're moving the ball better and finding the right shots. Defense is still a work in progress, but they're winning games regardless. They're making key stops when it matters and forcing teams into tough situations. That's all that counts this time of year. The timing couldn't be better. The roster's getting healthy and momentum is building right before the playoffs. They're locked into second place in the West and still pushing to climb higher. Michael Malone's never had a 10-game win streak in Denver, but they're on the verge of making it happen. The way they're playing, they could be peaking at just the right moment. But next, the Knicks are getting healthy at the perfect time. With the playoffs around the corner, they're finally seeing their full roster come together. Mitchell Robinson is back in practice for the first time since last year's playoffs, adding much-needed rim protection and rebounding. OG is returning too, bringing elite defense and versatility on the wing. Jalen Brunson's been carrying the offense, but now he's getting more help. The team's finally building chemistry with its full rotation, and the timing couldn't be better. They're sitting in third place in the East, and with key players returning, they're making a serious push for a top seed. Josh Hart's dealing with a knee issue, but everyone else is getting back in rhythm. The team's been grinding all season, and now they've got the depth to take it up a notch. Robinson's return means better interior defense and second chance opportunities, and Anunoby's defensive impact is game-changing. This team's been holding its own through injuries, but now they're gearing up for a deep playoff run. The pieces are falling into place, and if they stay healthy, they could be peaking at the absolute best time. After that, the Lakers are still figuring things out with their new dynamic. Adding Luka was a massive move, but the transition hasn't been smooth. He's struggling to find his rhythm, averaging 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists on rough shooting splits. Conditioning has always been a concern, and he's still working his way back from injury. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Lakers. LeBron, on the other hand, looks as dominant as ever. He just dropped 40, proving he can still take over when needed. But the Lakers can't rely on him to do everything. They need Doncic to settle in and play like the superstar they traded for. Right now, they're adjusting to a whole new offensive flow, and it's been a challenge. JJ is in his first year coaching, and balancing 2 ball-dominant stars isn't easy. The spacing, pace, and overall chemistry are still a work in progress. They're in the playoff hunt, but there's pressure to figure things out fast. The upside is clear. If Luka gets fully comfortable and LeBron keeps playing at this level, they're a real threat. After that, the Mavericks are in survival mode right now. Anthony Davis is making progress, but is still at least 2 weeks away from returning. He's already missed 3 games since joining Dallas, and now he's set to miss at least 10 more. That's a tough blow for a team still adjusting after the Luka trade. Davis isn't the only one sidelined. Both Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are out long-term, leaving the Mavs without their top 3 big men. They're scrambling to fill the gap, even signing 7-footer Moses Brown to a 10-day deal just to get some size on the floor. With Davis missing so much time, he won't reach the 65-game minimum to qualify for major awards. That's frustrating because he was having an elite season before the injuries. Dallas brought him in to be their defensive anchor, but now they're just hoping he can get healthy before the playoffs. The pressure is on. They need to hold the fort while Davis recovers, or they could fall behind in the Western Conference standings. If he gets back to full strength, the Mavs still have a chance to make noise. But what about a dominant squad? The Cavaliers are having a season to remember. With the franchise best 44 and 10 start and 3 All-Star selections, they're on pace to set a shocking new record for ticket sales, surpassing even the LeBron-era Cavs. Fans are packing Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for 129 straight sellouts, and they lead the NBA in the local TV ratings. This team's energy and chemistry have captured the city's heart, and it's clear the fans love what they're seeing. They're not just filling seats, they're ranking 6th in overall retail and merchandise sales too. The support for this squad is at an all-time high, and it's easy to see why. They might not have the household names of the championship-winning team, but this group plays with an intensity that has everyone believing in a deep playoff run. The way they're playing, a trip to the NBA Finals isn't out of the question. Cleveland's building momentum, and this team has the potential to make a serious run in May and June. If they keep this up, they might just deliver another championship for the city. The excitement around this team is at a fever pitch, and the best could be yet to come. But what about a player? Jason Tatum is chasing greatness, and he's not slowing down. Fresh off a dominant performance, he's making it clear he wants to be one of the best ever. He's already got a championship, but he knows one isn't enough. His motivation? Larry Bird, the gold standard for Celtics legends. Tatum's putting up numbers that scream all-time great. Before his 27th birthday, he's racked up over 13,000 points, ranking 7th in NBA history for that age. He's also the only player leading his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and made threes. That's elite company. Winning a title put him in the conversation, but he knows championships cement a legacy. Bird won 3 rings and 3 straight MVPs, setting a standard that few have matched. Tatum's got his eyes on multiple titles, and he's playing like a guy who won't settle for anything less. He's balancing team success with individual greatness perfectly. The Celtics are rolling, and Tatum's at the center of it all. He's proving he belongs in the same breath as the legends before him, and he's not done yet. If he keeps this up, his name could be etched alongside the greatest to ever wear green. After that, though, the Thunder are putting up numbers that don't even seem real. At 44-10, they've completely taken over the Western Conference and are on pace to finish with one of the best regular season records in NBA history. And of the 17 teams to ever win at least 66 games, 12 won the title. Their dominance goes way beyond wins. Their margin of victory is nearly 13 points per game, which would be the best ever. The only other teams to hit 12, the Lakers, Bucks, and Bulls, all champions. Even their net rating is off the charts at 12.8, topping every team in the league by a wide margin. Every advanced stat screams that this team isn't just good, they're historic. They've got the best simple rating system score ever, beating out legendary teams like the Jordan Bulls and the Steph KD Warriors. They're young, but they're destroying teams like a seasoned powerhouse. If history means anything, a team this dominant in the regular season usually ends up in the finals. The Thunder are on pace for something special, and they might just be ahead of schedule. But next up, the Bucks just took a major hit. Bobby Portis has been suspended for 25 games after testing positive for a banned substance. He won't be eligible to return until April 8th, just 4 games before the regular season ends. That's a brutal loss for Milwaukee as they fight for playoff positioning in the East. Portis claims it was a mistake, saying he thought he was taking an approved pain medication. His agent backed him up, explaining that the mix-up happened because of similar drug names, but the league's policy is strict, and there was no wiggle room for intent. He's been a key piece for the Bucks, averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds while bringing energy off the bench. Without him, the front court depth is thin, leaving Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Jericho Sims to carry the load. The team can sign a replacement after 6 games, but that's still a long stretch without their best bench. Big. Sitting in 5th place, Milwaukee is in a tight battle for seeding. Doc Rivers didn't sugarcoat it. Losing Portis is a major blow. The Bucks still have championship aspirations, but this just made their road to the playoffs a whole lot tougher. But next, a lot of people keep saying that Ja will be traded this summer, but the Grizzlies are shutting down any Ja Morant trade rumors. General manager Zach Kleiman made it crystal clear Ja isn't going anywhere. He called the speculation nonsense and said Memphis is focused on proving doubters wrong with their play on the court. The rumors started swirling after multiple stars were moved at the deadline, but Kleiman isn't entertaining them. Ja is putting up 21 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, helping Memphis hold the 2nd seed in the West. Injuries and off-court issues have limited his availability, playing just 41 of the team's last 136 games. That's led to speculation about his long-term future, especially if the Grizzlies fall short in the playoffs again. Memphis has a talented young core, but they've only won 1 playoff series since Morant arrived. If they don't make a deep run this year, the noise will only get louder. For now, though, the front office is standing firm. Ja is their franchise guy. With the playoffs approaching, all eyes are on Memphis. Can Ja lead them on a deep run, or will the pressure force changes? Either way, the Grizzlies are all in, and they're not looking back. But here's a weird team. The Clippers have problems, and they're not going away. They've lost 7 games this season after leading by 10 or more, and fourth quarter collapses are becoming a trend. Kawhi Leonard is playing more minutes, but wasn't even on the floor for a crucial defensive possession in their latest loss. Their offense goes missing late in games, and Ivica Zubac is a prime example. He had 20 points through 3 quarters, but didn't attempt a single shot in the 4th. That's now 3 straight games where he's been completely forgotten down the stretch. Norman Powell's health is another concern. He missed their last game with knee soreness, and the Clippers are now winless in their last 5 without him. That puts extra pressure on James Harden to carry the offense, and he struggled late against Milwaukee. Then there's the lineup chaos. 5 new players joined in February, and Tyronn Lue is still figuring out rotations. Ben Simmons is in the mix, but the lineups with him and Zubac together have been a disaster. They're holding on to the 6th seed in the West, but with a brutal road stretch ahead, they've got to figure things out fast. If not, their season could unravel quickly. But good news in Houston. The Rockets are getting a big boost. Jabari Smith is set to return after missing 22 games with a broken hand. He hasn't played since the start of January, and Houston has gone 12-10 without him. His size, rebounding, and defensive presence have been sorely missed. Smith's injury was initially expected to require surgery, but he avoided it and spent weeks rehabbing. Now, he's back with no minutes restriction, and that's huge for a team fighting for a top playoff seed. He's averaging 12 points, 7 rebounds, and a block per game, and his return should immediately help on the boards. Houston was 22-11 when Smith went down, and while they've stayed competitive, they've struggled defensively without him. Coach Udoka said his presence will help clean up their rebounding issues, which have been a problem in his absence. The Rockets are currently 4th in the Western Conference with 27 games left. This is the stretch where teams need to lock in, and Smith knows it. He said this is when the best teams peak, and Houston is looking to make a serious push. With him back, they've got a real shot to do it. And another return. The Timberwolves just got a big boost. Julius Randle has been cleared for full contact practice. After missing 8 games with a groin strain, Minnesota went 4-4 without him. And with only 26 games left, his return comes at the perfect time. Before the injury, the Wolves were on a 5-game win streak, their longest of the season. They're currently 7th in the Western Conference and need all the firepower they can get for the playoff push. Naz Reid stepped up in Randle's absence, averaging 20 points and 9 rebounds, while knocking down threes at an elite rate. His strong play has created an interesting dilemma. How will the Wolves balance minutes between him and Randle moving forward? Randle was involved in trade rumors at the deadline, but no deal materialized. He holds a $30 million player option this offseason, which could impact Minnesota's future decisions. Meanwhile, Reid is making a strong case for a long-term role with the team. With Randle nearing a return, the Wolves' rotation is about to get even deeper. Whether he reclaims his starting spot or shares minutes with Reid, Minnesota is gearing up for a crucial stretch run with plenty of decisions ahead. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, Victor Wembanyama's season is officially over. The Spurs announced he's being shut down due to deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder, a serious condition that requires blood thinners, making it impossible for him to continue playing. This is a massive blow. Wemby was averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, almost 4 assists, and a league-leading 4 blocks per game. He was the clear favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, but now he won't even be eligible for major awards since he'll fall short of the 65-game minimum. The news came after Wemby reported discomfort in his arm following the All-Star break, leading the Spurs medical team to run tests. The good news? The team is optimistic about his long-term health, and he's expected to make a full recovery by next season. This marks the second major loss for the Spurs this season after Coach Pop suffered a mild stroke months ago. Now, San Antonio will have to push forward without their star rookie, who is having a historic season. Wemby has already done things no player in NBA history has, and he's only getting started. Spurs fans just have to wait a little longer to see what's next. But staying on the injury topic, Miles Turner is back and making a statement. In his return from injury, he dominated with 17 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and a ridiculous 7 blocks. The Pacers took down a tough Memphis squad, and Turner made sure to call out the doubters afterward. Turner's presence completely transformed the Pacers. His chemistry with Tyrese Halliburton was on full display, and their pick-and-pop game torched the Grizzlies' defense. The synergy was theirs, Turner said. If they drop, Ty gets a shot. If not, I do. Indiana has looked elite at times this season, but consistency has been their biggest challenge. With Turner healthy, they have a legitimate shot at making noise in the playoff. His ability to impact both ends of the floor forces defenses to adjust, opening up opportunities for everyone else. The Pacers have the talent to be a threat in the East, but now it's all about proving it, night after night. With Turner back in the mix, Indiana might be ready to take the next step. But next, the Hawks are gearing up for a crucial playoff push. With just 27 games left in the regular season, every matchup matters. They return from the All-Star break, sitting 8th in the East with a 26-29 record, but the top 6 is still within reach. They're only 3 games out of a guaranteed playoff spot, and the next 10 games could define their season. They face key opponents like the Heat, Pacers, and Sixers, giving them a real shot to climb the standings. Atlanta's season has been full of highs and lows. They've strung together impressive win streaks, but also suffered tough losing skids. Despite the inconsistency, they've remained competitive, rarely getting blown out. The trade deadline brought in Caris LeVert, Terrence Mann, and George Niang, and they've already made an impact. The Hawks are 3-1 since the deal, and their bench has been one of the most productive in the league. Injuries to Vic Krejci and Larry Nance could hurt their depth, but if the Hawks stay locked in, they have a real chance to avoid the play-in tournament and secure a top 6 seed. The race is on, but staying in the East, the Pistons are on a mission to break their playoff drought. After years of struggles, they've doubled last season's win total and sit in 6th place in the East. Cade Cunningham is leading the way. The All-Star guard is averaging career highs across the board and ranks 3rd in the NBA in assists. His growth is fueling Detroit's resurgence. Duren and Thompson are thriving. Their chemistry is creating easy scoring opportunities, and their efficiency has been off the charts. They've been Detroit's most effective offensive duo this month. Dennis Schroeder is making an instant impact. Since joining the Pistons, the second unit has been elite, ranking 1st in offensive rating and tied for 1st in net rating. Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris have stepped up. Beasley is shooting nearly 50% from 3 over the last 9 games, and Harris is having his best scoring month of the season. The road ahead is tough. Detroit has key games against top contenders like the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder, but if they keep up this level of play, they'll be a dangerous postseason threat. And right next to them in the standings, the Magic are locked in for a playoff push. With 7 straight home games ahead, they have a prime opportunity to climb the standings and solidify their spot in the East. Paolo knows there's work to do. Despite beating the Hawks, he believes the team needs to clean up mistakes and improve their execution down the stretch. Jalen Suggs remains out, but is making progress. The young guard has missed 10 games with a quad injury, but is staying in Orlando for treatment to speed up his return. The Magic currently sit in 7th place in the East. They trail the 6th seeded Pistons by 2 games, but hold a 1-game lead over the Heat. Every win matters. Orlando's home court advantage is real. They've won 17 of 27 games at the Kia Center and are counting on their fans to fuel them during this crucial stretch. Their next test, a back-to-back matchup against the Grizzlies. Both teams are on short rest, but the Magic have the advantage of playing at home. But staying in Florida, the Miami Heat enter the final stretch of the season with major questions. Sitting at 25 wins and 28 losses, they need to find consistency and improve their offensive struggles. The Wear Bam frontcourt has been elite defensively. Offensively, it remains a work in progress, and spacing issues need to be solved for long-term success. Andrew Wiggins is still adjusting. The Heat need him to find rhythm soon, as his offensive efficiency and defensive impact could be key for the team's playoff push. Miami's offense has been bottom tier for 3 straight seasons. If they do not find a groove soon, their scoring struggles could keep them out of serious contention. Terry Rozier has yet to fit in. His role moving forward is uncertain, as other players like Alec Burks, Duncan Robinson, and Kyle Anderson may be better fits in the rotation. Tyler Hero has hit a slump. His shooting efficiency has dipped, and teams are pressuring him more defensively. Can he rediscover his early season form and carry the offense? Miami's wing rotation is crowded. Spo has several options, but must decide who to rely on, most between Wiggins, Jaquez, Jovic, and others. The Heat must find answers quickly. With 29 games left, their playoff hopes depend on fixing their offensive woes and solidifying their rotation before it is too late. But let's talk about a player. The Chicago Bulls nearly traded Lonzo Ball before the deadline. The team, stuck in the middle of the standings, was expected to move several key players, including Ball. Reports suggest the Bulls had a trade lined up, receiving a late first-round pick and an expensive long-term contract in exchange for Ball and a second-round pick. However, the deal never happened. Instead, the Bulls committed to Ball, signing him to a 2-year, $20 million extension. After missing 2 seasons with injuries, he has looked solid in his return, averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists per game, while shooting 36% from deep. Ball's future was uncertain, but the Bulls have made it clear that they see him as part of their plan. Whether he stays long-term or becomes a future trade asset, his presence remains a key factor for the team. Chicago's direction remains unclear. The front office kept Ball, Vooch, and Patrick Williams. With the season winding down, the Bulls must decide whether to build around Ball or explore more moves this summer. For now, Ball is here to stay. and his comeback story continues. But next, the Phoenix Suns are struggling to regain momentum as they push for a postseason spot. Following the All-Star break, they dropped their 4th consecutive game, falling to the San Antonio Spurs, despite Victor Wembanyama being out for the season. Kevin Durant's return to Texas was overshadowed by the Suns' ongoing issues. Royce O'Neal led Phoenix with 27 points, while Durant added 22. Devin Booker contributed 17 points and 8 assists, but struggled with efficiency. The loss dropped Phoenix to 26 wins and 29 losses, placing them 2 games behind the Golden State Warriors for the final play-in spot. Their next challenge comes against the Chicago Bulls, where they will aim to snap their losing streak and stay in the race. With their season on the line, the Suns must find consistency to avoid missing the playoffs entirely. But lastly, the Golden State Warriors are aiming for a late season push. With 28 wins and 27 losses, they sit in 10th place in the Western Conference, fighting for a play-in spot. Their goal? Climb into the top 6 to avoid the play-in tournament entirely. Jimmy Butler's arrival has boosted their confidence, with Curry and Kerr targeting a strong finish, while Draymond Green boldly claims they will win the championship. However, consistency has been a major issue, as the Warriors have suffered multiple blown leads and unexpected losses. To reach 48 wins, a likely requirement for the 6th seed, Golden State must win 20 of their final 27 games. Key matchups include games against the Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, and Dallas Mavericks, which will test their ability to compete at a high level. If the Warriors can limit their self-inflicted mistakes and capitalize on winnable games, their playoff hopes remain alive. Their next challenge is against the Sacramento Kings, a crucial game as they attempt to build momentum. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.